It was a bright spring morning, and Jacob's kindergarten class was buzzing with excitement. Miss Lopez, their teacher, stood at the front of the room holding a small basket. "Today," she said with a big smile, "each of you will become a gardener." She walked around the room, handing every child a tiny seed. Jacob opened his hand and stared at his seed. It was small, round, and brown, nothing special, he thought. Beside him, his classmate Mia whispered, "Mine looks like a pebble." And his friend Daniel held his seed high in the air, saying, "I'm going to grow the biggest plant in the whole school." Miss Lopez explained, "Seeds may look small, but inside they hold the power to grow into something amazing. All they need is soil, water, sunshine, and patience." At home, Jacob showed the seed to his parents and his little sister, Eliana. Eliana giggled and said, "It looks like a tiny chocolate chip." His mom gave him a cup filled with soil, and together they planted the seed. Jacob pressed the dirt gently with his finger, then gave it a little water. "Now we wait," his dad said. The next morning, Jacob rushed to check his cup, but the soil looked the same. He frowned. "Nothing's happening." The same thing happened the next day. And the day after that, Jacob started to feel frustrated. What if my seed is broken? He asked. That weekend, his cousins Sophia and Matteo came over to play. When Jacob showed them his cup of dirt, Sophia said, "Don't give up. I planted a seed last year, and it took a long time before it grew." Matteo added, "Yeah, plants are slow, but when they come up, it's so cool." Jacob still felt impatient, but he remembered his teacher's words, patience, so he kept watering the soil a little each morning. Sometimes he even whispered to the seed, "Come on, you can do it." Then one sunny morning, something amazing happened. Jacob leaned over his cup and gasped. A tiny green sprout was poking up through the soil. "Mom? Dad? Eliana?" he shouted. They hurried over, smiling at the little sprout. His mom said, "See, Jacob? Good things take time." When Jacob went back to school, he was eager to see his classmates' plants. Mia had a sprout too, but hers was leaning to the side. Daniel bragged, "Mine is taller than everyone's." But Jacob didn't care whose was the biggest. He was just proud that his little seed had finally begun to grow. Over the next few weeks, Jacob's sprout grew taller and stronger. Every day he gave it water, sunshine, and care. When Sophia and Matteo visited again, he showed them the progress. "Wow," said Sophia, "look how big it is now." Matteo nodded. "I told you it would be cool." Jacob smiled, remembering how impatient he had been at the start. Now he understood. Seeds and sometimes people need time to grow. And with patience, love, and care, small things can turn into something wonderful. That night, as Jacob got ready for bed, he looked at his plant one more time. It wasn't just a sprout anymore, it was a symbol of what he had learned. He whispered to himself, "Patience makes great things grow."